Regional Victorians are pretty happy tonight after learning that lockdown rules and restrictions will ease on Friday. School will go back, travel limits are gone, and some businesses can reopen with density limits. And Victorians who are stranded in New South Wales have been given a way to return home, as Sarah Lawrence reports.
After being stuck in Albury for a month, Trish Grady can finally make plans to head home to Port Fairy.
We've had lots of good luck messages and friends and family particularly who are happy to hear that we may eventually get home.
She's one of thousands of Victorians stuck in New South Wales that'll now be able to return as part of a home quarantine trial if they've had at least one vaccination and a negative COVID test.
We've well and truly served our time.
It's part of a suite of lockdown rules easing in regional Victoria from midnight tomorrow. Prep to grade 2 plus year 12 students will return to the classroom. Funerals can have up to 20 people, weddings up to 10. Retail and hairdressers can reopen, and restaurants and cafes can do seated service but with density limits. Those limits mean just 10 diners inside and 20 outside for Bendigo's Rising Sun Hotel.
I'd have to weigh it up and see if it's worth it, but it's a welcoming sign for hospitality in regional Victoria.
And the Premier's warned those steps need to be taken carefully, with 5 cases emerging across different regional LGAs today.
It's not a snapback, it's not Freedom Day, it's not 100% of capacity down at the pub. It can't be. If it is, then we will simply see numbers spread.
For Morwell teacher Dan Swallow, the chance for Year 12s to return in Term 3 was unexpected.
Hurrying the Year 12s back so that they can get prepared for their final exams, I think is also a really good outcome for them.
The state opposition wants the same plan made available to schools in other COVID-free areas of Metro Melbourne.
So given there are more active cases in Greater Geelong than there are Manningham, Cardinia or Maroondah, why do schools there remain closed?
It is based on public health advice.
Greater Shepparton will remain under Melbourne's lockdown rules for now, but they could be lifted as early as next week after 0 cases were recorded there overnight. Regional businesses will be required to check IDs again, while police will saturate country roads to stop Metro residents accessing country areas.
It's a $5,452 fine, so that's a huge fine just for heading into the regional areas for a cafe meal or a restaurant meal or a pub meal. So, please don't.
Regional Victorians will be hoping it's enough to preserve their freedom. Sarah Lawrence, ABC News.
Well, no change to Melbourne's lockdown, and health services in the city are bracing themselves for hundreds of people to be hospitalised. 221 new cases have been identified. Again, more than half can't be traced to known outbreaks. Of the 120 people in hospital, 33 are in intensive care. And the Health Department has predicted there'll be 800 people in hospital by mid-October. Eden Hennanen reports.
Melbourne's emergency departments are already stretched.
Work's getting a lot harder. There is definitely a lot of very tired nurses. We're doing a lot of overtime and stuff just to try and keep our community as safe as we possibly can.
And 86% of all cases now are under the age of 50.
The bit that's probably scaring us the most is that the patients that are coming in that are really sick are actually a lot younger than the last time round.
But with cases expected to rise, there are worries the immunity of those first vaccinated in February, like emergency department workers, will fade when they are needed most.
There is strong evidence coming from overseas that the immunity offered by 2 jabs of the COVID vaccine starts to wear off.
Health Department forecasts predict that the state could see up to 18,000 active cases and over 800 people hospitalised by the middle of next month. And Catholic Health Australia has written to the federal government asking for booster shots for healthcare workers also by then.
It's been put to me by the Secretary of the Health Department in Canberra and others that they're well placed to begin boosters potentially as early as the end of the year.
But vaccine allocations are a sore point. Daniel Andrews continues to accuse the Commonwealth of shortchanging Victoria and giving New South Wales more than its fair share.
Let's be realistic. I would have thought the average punter would think the first thing you do is pick up the phone and try and fix it.
No, I haven't spoken to the Prime Minister. I think he's been rather busy doing other things.
But the issue is sure to be discussed by the men eventually at National Cabinet, which is next scheduled for Friday next week. Eden Hennanen, ABC News, Melbourne.
Police have fined at least 6 people for breaching COVID-19 regulations at a late-night religious gathering in Melbourne's southeastern suburbs. A news cameraman was injured when police attempted to break up the crowd of around 25 Orthodox worshippers at a synagogue. Here's Andrea Nierhoff.
Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, is normally a joyous occasion, but this gathering quickly turned tense. After hours of negotiation with police, dozens of people, including many children, are peacefully leaving a synagogue when another group interrupts.
I'm also appalled if the people who came and distracted police at that point in time when we were negotiating an exit did that deliberately, because in my view that's a blatant attempt to inhibit a police investigation.
It was my understanding, as I said, that they were operating under effectively an AA type meeting, a mental health group that allows you to have 10 people congregated at a time.
A news cameraman was hospitalised after being assaulted during the confrontation.
We send our best wishes to him. It's just appalling conduct.
I know the law too. And passers-by were also yelled at. Today, police were patrolling the area, but they say they would do that normally.
In a statement, the Jewish Community Council says it's deeply disappointed in the behaviour of those who breached lockdown. It says the actions of a few do not reflect the vast majority of its community, most of whom have celebrated within the rules.
A lot of us, like myself, are obeying the rules, and we had our Jewish New Year dinner a couple nights ago, just me and the family, and had our family on Zoom.
It's not just the Jewish community or a small proportion of the Jewish community who are breaching Cho, it's everyone, and everybody needs to think about their role in keeping the community safe.
Police say more people will be fined as investigations continue. Andrea Nierhoff, ABC News, Melbourne.